I didn't really like the way that I named my last YouTube video, but this is related to that. So instead of saying mending the relationship with females, I'm going to say making peace with females. So this is 3 tips on how to make peace with females, because the last video that I did was on how to mend your relationship with men, but I don't really feel like it's mending your relationship with men. It's just coming to peace with the opposite sex. So this is for the men on how to make peace with the women. Okay? So the number one thing that you have to understand on females nowadays is that females have changed. We have changed. We are not traditional. For the most part, I do know there's still females that are very traditional and grew up like that. For the most part, the Western culture and the female movement and female empowerment movement and coming to all the rights that women now have changed the woman. And that is not necessarily a bad thing, but you guys have to understand as men that if you're looking for a traditional female, you have to be a traditional man. Plain and simple. You guys are demanding women to cook and clean and be housewives and have your children and be traditional and do all this stuff while you guys are not traditional men yourselves. It takes discipline, it takes patience, and it takes dedication to become a traditional man. And if you were raised deep down to your core, which let me tell you that I have not met one single man in my life that is deep-rooted traditional as the men were back then. So don't expect, the number one tip to make peace with the females is to not expect that the women act and be traditional like they were back in the 20s maybe, or the 30s, however back you want to go. Women have changed, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that we have a lot more rights. We have come into a certain power as women, and somehow that has just changed the entire culture of relationships and the way that we relate to you guys as men. It's not a bad thing, but we have to learn how to work with it and work with each other. And you as men need to learn how to accept the change in women. They are a lot more masculine. They carry themselves a lot more strongly, and they voice their opinions a lot more because women have been suppressed for so long that this woman empowerment movement and female movement has changed the way that women show themselves and express themselves in the world. So just learn how to genuinely get to know a woman without judging her based on culture. Because even though most women do carry a lot of masculine energy nowadays, they're still women. And there's a lot, and deep down to their core, there's a lot of feminine energy in there. If they don't show you that off the bat, it's probably because of you. A woman needs a true masculine traditional man to show our deep-rooted femininity and traditional way of being as a woman. Way back then, women were expected only to have kids, stay at home, cook, and clean. The man did the other thing. Our culture and relationships have completely shifted. So we have to shift mentality with it, okay? So that's the first thing. And I want to have a genuine conversation with you guys I don't want this to be like, I'm just telling you guys this. This is a conversation we should be having with each other. These are my thoughts. These are my perspectives. And my entire channel is based on my experience. I don't expect you to always agree and just listen to what I say, but I want you to question and put everything into your perspective. And what do you think about this? This is a conversation that I see needs to happen between us. It's about relationships and how we treat our women. I have seen so many posts about men and females both just raging against each other. TikTok is super toxic. Jesus. Like, do not use social media to try to identify a woman. Or you know how there's certain pages where it's like, oh, these 3 signs are what toxic females are like, or if she does these 3 things, she doesn't love you. Like, everything is based on perspective. You have to understand that. Even my channel is based on perspective. So I don't think that you should just listen to what I say and believe it. I think you should use what I say and question yourself and put it into perspective. What do you think? I think we should take everything that we see online, like you are watching this video right now, and question it. Put it into perspective, your own perspective. What do you think about it? So, number 1 tip to making peace with women is to accept the women have changed. Our dynamic has to change. Your mentality about women needs to change, enable for you to actually get to know a woman deep down. Build a friendship with them. Learn how to build a genuine relationship with a woman. We have changed and we are very different. Okay? So, the second tip to making peace with women is to know that sadly there are women out there that are just like men, if not worse. Let me tell you that off the bat. As a woman, I have had friends and I have met women that run game worse than the men. And I am sorry to say this, men, but I am being realistic. Women know how to run game better than you guys. Okay? And I understand when you have been screwed over by a woman, it is very painful because they're a lot smarter about it. A woman could be cheating on you for years and you won't even find out. She could have been cheating on you your entire relationship and you wouldn't even have found out. But let me tell you that these women that choose to use their power and energy like that are women that have been hurt. Either they have been deeply hurt or they have not come to truly see themselves for who they are. And you cannot use one experience and apply it to every other female you meet in your life. Not every woman is like this. Not every woman wants to just use you and manipulate you or take your money or whatever it is that women have done to you in the past. I get it. We have all been hurt, okay? And I went over this in my last video, is that you are not special. Unfortunately, we have all gone through trauma. And we have all been hurt by a woman or a man. It doesn't matter. We've all been through something that has traumatized us and relationship-wise has probably left us with trust issues. Let me tell you that not every female wants to hurt you. There are some genuine females that need that masculinity for you to hold that ground for her to be able to express herself and her feminine energy. It's a dance that we have to do with each other. But when we're so afraid of trusting the other person, when we come into connection, it causes anxiety and an anxious energy between the connection, where she's afraid to trust, so you're afraid to trust because you feel her energy all anxious, and then she feels your energy all anxious because you're afraid to trust, and then it's a big ball of anxiety and chaos and overthinking, and you're just like, well, I don't want this, and then you just run away or you shut down completely, because you as men tend to do that emotionally. That's your first go-to, is you're so afraid to put your walls down. You don't express yourself, you don't express your emotions, and you think that keeps you safe. Which it does, but it also hinders your ability to build and learn how to build genuine connections and relationships with women. The second tip to make peace with the women is to just learn that not every female is the same. Learn to give every woman that you meet a chance until she proves you otherwise. Hold your boundaries. Always with boundaries. You can learn how to navigate the dating world with boundaries. That way, when a person shows you who they are, believe it and walk away at the first try. But also understand that people are not perfect. We're all out here trying to learn how to build connections and love each other, but we're so afraid. Everyone is so afraid. You're afraid, she's afraid, and it's not helping anyone. I think we all need to learn how to be vulnerable and be expressive in our feelings, but hold the boundaries. That way, when something does happen, you're able to walk away and not get hurt. But you have to understand that being open is also being open to being hurt. You have to learn how to deal with the hurt and with the pain. You have to learn how to deal with the pain, because pain is inevitable. You're alive. You're gonna feel it one way or another. So the second tip to making peace with the women, and I'm going a little all over the place here, but I promise you, I have points for everything that I mentioned within these tips, is that not every woman is the same. Allow yourself to get to know every individual woman as they are. Once they show you who they truly are, at that point, walk away after you have given them a chance. Okay? Don't hold resentment towards females, because it's so easy to be like, oh, well, this woman hurt me, so I'm never going to trust another woman again. Don't do that. It's actually very sad, because you hinder yourself from potentially building a very beautiful relationship. And the last thing, this is kind of a long one. The last tip to heal or to make peace with the women is to understand the perspective that we as women have on sex. Because sex is a huge topic now, and it's exploded a little bit all over social media. Everybody talks about sex. Women are being over-sexualized, and trust me, I know sometimes they over-sexualize themselves. TikTok, you see even little girls dancing, posting, like the OnlyFans movement. It's so normal to have an OnlyFans now, and I am not judging. It is very deeply personal. It's a personal decision. As a man, do not judge what the woman wants to do with their body. Do not judge what a female chooses and not chooses to post, to wear, when to have sex, who to have sex with. If that's not your thing, if you're not okay with it, if that's not in alignment with who you are and what you want, then walk away without talking shit. Just do your thing. Females have a very different perspective on sex than men. I understand that for men, it's just a pleasurable experience. They literally get one nut in, and that's their maximized pleasure right there, and it ends. It's a nut. You guys can have sex with multiple women. It really doesn't mean much to you. It is what it is. A lot of men say you guys can have sex with no feelings. I feel like for most women, sex is different. It's experienced differently. We get a lot more pleasure than you guys. Like, to us, it's not a one nut and it's over. Like, we enjoy the whole thing. Like, and especially because females can have multiple different orgasms. With this movement of women empowerment and the women having more rights, has come the power to also say, you know what, I like sex and I want to have sex, and that's fine. This is what the woman has come to too, is to say and finally accept their sexuality and be able to do it freely without feeling so judged. I also know that because it's been perceived that sex has been suppressed for so long, it kind of exploded and it's a little too much now. It's too much out there. And I get it. You guys are frustrated. You guys are tired of seeing the women expose themselves, or to you guys, it's perceived as they don't hold their value. But I promise you, the women don't see it that way. If that's not your thing, you don't have to talk shit about the females. You don't have to bash on them, or just, that's not your women. If you choose to not pursue a woman just because she has an OnlyFans, or she chooses to have sex with multiple people, then that's very personal. Don't bash on them or anything. Like I said, if you are looking for a deeply traditional woman, you have to be a deeply traditional man. If you're looking for something in between where they're also very open, you can find that. But you don't have to judge every female like the way that the men have been doing on the internet. There's whole pages of men just talking shit about girls that do OnlyFans, or people like, I don't even want to say his name, but there's a lot of men that follow Andrew Tate, and he gives horrible advice on how to get females. And I understand a lot of the stuff the men are like, this is stuff that we've been wanting to say forever, like this is truly how I feel. But in today's society, it's not really about who's right and who's wrong. It's more about coming to peace with each other. If you don't like the way that a woman carries herself and is being or is acting, just choose a different woman. Go to it. You have that right as a man. If you don't like the way that a woman is living her life, instead of trying to change it or judge it, go to a different person. You know what I'm saying? Like, sex is so, it's sex. It is what it is. Everyone chooses to have it and do it in whatever form and way works for them. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not a big deal. And it is a big deal, and it's not at the same time. We have made it explode in a way where I do see it has turned a little bit negative and has gotten so much attention that it's become a little much. But I also see it as something that is so natural to us humans. That is the way that we reproduce and we make sure that humanity continues. And we need the men as females, and you as men need the females. You choose who you want to have babies with at the end of the day. You don't have to judge the women. Just choose the woman that you want and get to know them without judging or talking crap on the internet about them. This battle between the sexes seems so insane to me. And I don't know if it's gonna end. I honestly think that it's gonna get worse before it gets better. So I'm just kind of excited to see where it goes. I think mainly my channel is to get people to think about these topics, not to tell you guys what's right. I never want you guys to think that I'm right or I'm telling you exactly what to do. It's more of discussions, conversations, and based on my perspective, what do you think? And make you think about it as well. The women now, too, have had a lot of power in expressing their sexuality, because before they weren't allowed to do that, especially with their clothes as well. And we are very sensual beings. You have to understand that. So naturally, the women love sex. It is what it is. It doesn't matter if it's with one person. If you choose to be with one person, you choose to be in a relationship. There are women that feel comfortable in polyamory relationships, and they go and explore their relationships that way. There's just so many ways to go about sex nowadays. I don't feel like any of them should be judged. It is very personal. And if you as a man choose that that's not what you want, then that's fine. Go and choose something and be with someone that aligns with what you do want without talking crap. Ultimately, we're just trying to come to a place where you don't hate the women that you see on the internet. If you are hating these women that you're seeing, follow other pages, bro. Go watch something else, because I can assure you, I follow plenty of pages of aesthetics and quotes and educational stuff. But you're sitting there watching the women twerk in spandex, showing their asses or showing their boobs and exposing their OnlyFans, which once again, I see absolutely nothing wrong with, because it is personal choice. But if you as a man behind the screen, you're choosing to watch this, and then you think that every woman is like this, and you're talking crap about the generation of women nowadays, it is because you're feeding yourself with this content. So obviously it's feeding the idea that every woman is like this, and that's not true. I understand women nowadays are a lot more expressive and, open to that, and, things have changed. Like I said, you have to learn that times have changed and women have changed, but also accept the fact that it is very personal. It is a personal choice. There's nothing much that you can really do about it. Stop watching stuff like that. Like, if you keep on seeing girls twerking and you're like, oh my God, like, we're doomed. Look, like, this is what the women are like nowadays. Or you like keep on scrolling, watching the same thing. Like, bro, watch something else. Change the algorithm. It is very personal. You're choosing to watch that kind of stuff because it's out there. Trust me, the internet has grown so much, you will find anything that you want on the internet. And if you keep on watching stuff like that, it is because it's in your algorithm and you keep on attracting it. So analyze yourself. Look inward truly. And really ask yourself what you want and why this stuff keeps on popping up in your life. Or these women keep on popping up in your life that are like this. Because it's not the female's fault. It's not the men's fault either. We both have fault, and the way that we relate to each other. It's not about who is doing this or who chooses to do this. It's very personal. Like I said, you have to understand that in able to create peace, you have to be able to understand the other person, and their choices are very personal. They have nothing to do with you, and ultimately, you don't know why people do what they do. So, this whole video trying to get us to work together and make peace with the women, because my last video I did was on making peace and mending the relationship with men. But ultimately, this is all about connection. This is the world that we're creating together. This is our future. And ultimately, I just want to make sure that our connections thrive. And somehow we manage to build good relationships so that our children can then see us and learn from that, and they themselves could have good relationships. And this is a community project. We need everybody involved. So I hope this video has made you think a little bit. And I strayed off a little bit from the phone and the actual tips that I had on here, but this was more of a genuine conversation with you guys. I just expressed everything that I truly think and that I have been thinking about for the past couple months, doing some research on social media, going through comments, going through TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and it is a nasty world out there on the internet. Get off the internet every once in a while and get to know people in person, okay? And I know you're watching this on the internet. Don't get off my channel, get off the other people's channels. I'm just kidding, guys. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you have learned something. I hope I made you think a little bit. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe, like this video, comment, share it, so we can keep on growing and expanding together. I will see you in the next one.